Hi and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can work with databases on your Bluehost account. So let's say maybe you have some script that you need to install, and you also need to create databases for that script. Let's say you're not using the one-click install for whichever script you're installing. So in that case, you're going to need to create a database for that script. And if you are going to use a database for PHP, normally you must have a database name, you must have a database user, and you must have a password for that user. So you can use the MySQL wizard to create a new database along with the users. You can also use this MySQL database, just create a database and add it to a user who is already in your database. You can also go into phpMyAdmin so that you can manage your databases. Maybe you want to import a database, you want to export a database, you want to delete certain tables, you want to add certain things in certain tables, you want to edit things in your PHP tables in your database. Then you can use phpMyAdmin. And let me just click on this. So I hope it will open, but normally I get an issue with it on my Bluehost account. So I've clicked on this. Now the one that is more important to you is if you want to create a database, you want to create a user, then you'll click on MySQL wizard, and this will guide you through a step-by-step process on how you can create the database, you can create the user, and you can create the password for that user so that you can use those credentials for any script that you're uploading. In the MySQL database, the first step is you create the database, and the database automatically gets your username as there for security purposes. So let's say you want to create a database called sample.db, and then next step we will connect it to a user. Then you can create a user, and then you give a password. Make sure your password is strong. I'm using a weak password, and then I'll create the user. And then here you can decide which privileges do you want to give this user for this database. Okay, so in most cases you can just select all privileges if you're the admin and you're going to use this, or sometimes you can just give them various privileges based on what you need to do. Okay, so you can give different privileges based on what your script demands, but in my case I'm just going to give it all privileges because I'm going to delete this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now the user has privileges for that database, and you can use this and this to connect any script. Let's say you are installing WordPress. Without using the one-click install, you're going to need to add a database user, and you're going to need to add a database name and a password. Okay, when I click on this, it automatically gives me all my databases. Okay, all of them are here. So you just click on it and it will take you into your databases. Let's see if the database that I created is here. So now that I've reloaded the page, apparently I need to log in again. Nonetheless, let me just put in the username that I had here. What's the username? Wahowa user. And then I can log in. So if you don't know where you can get your login and password, let's say you installed WordPress using the one-click install. If you install WordPress using the one-click install, you can get your database password, the database that is being used by WordPress, by going into the file manager. Where is the file manager? I had one open here. So if I go into the file manager and then I go back into my root folder for my WordPress website, then I can go into what's it called, wp config, and if I go and open code edit wp config, I will be able to find my database username, my database password, my database hostname, and they're all here. Okay, database name, database password, and the database username. All of that you can find here. So if you need to find them, you need to use them anywhere else, this is where you'll find them. Okay, if you have to log into your database and do something manually, then first of all you need to go into your wp config, take the database password, take the database username, so that you can log into phpMyAdmin Don't know what errors these are, but I don't really know what they're about. But if I need to import a database here, I'll just click there to import a database. If I already have certain tables that I want to use in this database, then I can do this. Maybe you're migrating from another web host. You can do this. You'll just come in here, import your database, and then you can also upload your files. And if you're using the same domain that you're using in the previous web host, you're not going to have issues importing your website, because it is the same domain, the same links. So it's just going to work out of the box as long as the import goes smoothly. So for some reason, this has refused to open up, but normally that's how you do it in PHPMyAdmin. You'll just come here into import, and then you'll get the option to choose the file from your computer, and then you can import it into your database. And that's something that's usually very possible and very doable. But unfortunately, there are some errors on this PHPMyAdmin on Bluehost, and I don't know what is causing them. And unfortunately, it's a shared hosting, so there's nothing I can do. I can't check the files, I can't check the logs. There's nothing I can do. That's one of the reasons why I started using VPS, so that if there's any error, I can go and find out what the issue is myself. So that's it for this video. In this video, you've learned how you can create a database and use that database for your application. And you've also seen that if you want to know the details for your WordPress database that was installed via one-click install, you just need to go into your WP config, and then you're going to find all those credentials in there. And that is the same for all the other scripts that you're going to install. If you install any script via one-click install, every script has a database file whereby there is a config file. You can access the database name there, you can access the username and the password. So that's it for this video. And in the next video, let's look at something that I forgot to look at, and that is how you can install on subdomains. It's just the same process, okay? But I just want to do it anyway. And we're going to see how we can install anything else, one of these other one-click installs, into our subdomain. And the process is just the same. The only difference is that when you get to the point of choosing the domains, you're going to choose your subdomain. That's the only difference. So in the next video, that's what you're going to do, and that's going to be the last video that entails this Bluehost tutorial. So if there's anything else that I may have forgotten, just let me know, and I will see if I can cover it, or I can just give you a link for where you can find something to help you with it, because Bluehost has a very intense documentation for almost anything on Bluehost that you want to do. So you can just search for Bluehost, how to do this on Bluehost, how to do that on Bluehost, and you're going to find that the solutions that come up are probably going to be on the Bluehost website. So you don't have to worry. That's the same for every website that is serious about their business. Every web host that is serious about their business, they'll give you tutorials on how to do things, how to move your domain to Bluehost, how to add name servers on Bluehost, how to activate this, how to add databases, how to import databases. You're going to find every web host that is serious about their business, they have a documentation, because that is like a marketing thing for them. So if there's anything that you don't know how to do, I mean, it's just as easy as going to Google and then you search for how to do X on Bluehost, how to add X on Bluehost. All the solutions will be there for you. So I'll see you in the next video, where we're going to end by installing any of the other scripts. And I think I'm going to try Magento, and we're going to see how to install Magento on a subdomain. So I will see you in the next video.